Hey everyone, CWD Music Reviews here. I'm CWD, and this is going to be this segment, this monthly, or in this case, bi-monthly segment of N.E.T, Not Enough Time. I'm pretty much just going to gloss through a series of albums that I haven't got a chance to review or talk about, and going to pretty much just touch down on my brief opinions on all of these. Why I'm not going to review them, because a good chunk of these were pretty much, I didn't have enough time to talk about them, even if I did like some of them quite a bit. So with that said, here we go. The first record I want to mention is the new Kanye West album, The Life of Pablo, or this updated version of The Life of Pablo. I actually already have reviewed The Life of Pablo on the channel. Check that out. Just, scroll down, eventually you'll find it. But this update, I do like this update a little more than the previous one. It's a bit more balanced, has a few more things to offer in terms of instrumentation. Though I do feel that the the lack of balance in the production was part of the aesthetic that the album in particular was trying to go for. But regardless, the album does sound slightly better. I'm willing to bump it up a few more increments, and pretty much say that it was probably my favorite album of February by default. So there's that. If you haven't already checked out The Life of Pablo yet, and you are a Kanye West fan, do check that out. If you don't like Kanye, don't try it. That's pretty much final there. Alright, now for the rest of the thing. The new Femmes album that came out in March, folk punk band, came back with a new record, and I gotta say, I don't feel any type of way about it. It's really underwhelming to the point of remarkableness, in a way. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not particularly great either. If you are a Femmes fan and you've been waiting for an album, then do check it out. It's a bit more simple in terms of the lyrics and the instrumentation. So I guess that's why I was pretty underwhelmed by the project. And the album cover didn't really help to, alleviate my concerns. But regardless, like I said, if you do like Femmes, check them out. Check out this album. That's what I mean. Oh, I'm not editing this video, by the way, if you already couldn't tell. What's next? In terms of March, the new Young Thug mixtape album thing, the Slime Season Volume 3. I was pleasantly surprised by it, certainly. I didn't expect Young Thug to put out a project I like, but I don't feel like the project had a whole lot of staying power to it, honestly. The production seems like regular old trap music to me. It was okay, it was decent, but not really something I'm going to come back to very often. There's tracks like Digits and Drippin' that I liked a lot, but that's really it. If you're a Young Thug fan, give it a try, you'll like it a lot, I'm sure. The new Jeff Buckley record, as well as the Dilla record while I'm at it in terms of posthumous albums. Did not listen to either, and I don't want to. I have this belief about posthumous records that's essentially, they should probably just not sell them or advertise them. If an artist has all this unfinished material that didn't see the light of day, either one, it was meant to be that way, or two, it was an abandoned project that isn't finished and trying to just pick up where they left off and then dropping it for the sake of profit. That's something that I'm not really for, honestly. If it's a demo, then just leak it online and let the fans love it to death or whatever. You know, I'd much prefer that happen instead of them just compile it into one album and then sell it off. It just seems really insulting to the memory to me. But if you are a fan of both Jeff Buckley and Jay Dilla, and I know I'm a fan of Jeff Buckley, I love Grace, then definitely give it a try. You'll get something out of it, certainly. I think that... And finally for March, the new Cobalt album. Didn't particularly care for this album, honestly. It's decent enough. I certainly don't think it's bad. It's just really disappointing to me. Okay, some band, some alternative, experimental, progressive, whatever metal band, after like 8 years, finally drops an album, and it just sounds like pretentious, try-hard, heavy metal music that really doesn't do much other than just make long-ass songs and just relatively dense riffs. I don't know. I don't know. I just listened to it and I didn't really care much for it. The vocals really didn't match the instrumentation or the production. None of it really matched. It was quite discerning what was going on there, if you ask me. But if you do like this style of music, if you've been waiting for Cobalt to drop an album and somehow this slid by you, then definitely do check it out. You'll get more out of it than I did. Alright, now for the month of April, which really disappoints me that I wasn't able to get through a good chunk of these. The new Colin Stetson record, Sorrow. This is actually more of a Colin Stetson collaboration with Sarah Neufeld and Greg Fox of Liturgy of all people and a few other people. I actually think Colin Stetson's sister or someone close to him in terms of someone related to him in some way is hopped onto this project in some way, and they pretty much just do this reimagining of Henrik Gorecki's Third Symphony, which from what I understand is probably the most popular work in classical music, in neoclassical music. That's to say, if you don't count film scores. Yeah. This was good. I certainly enjoyed this. It definitely works up to it certainly does the original justice. I just feel like that they came together and did a reimagining instead of just making original compositions within the inspiration of this project, and I much would have preferred that, and I hope they do that, because when Sarah Neufeld and Colin Stetson dropped Never the Way She Was, I feel like that's the kind of band, that's the kind of style and formation that I wish that they would come together and make music in. And seeing them do that, but as a one expansive cover, it wasn't that exciting for me. Still, do check this out if you're a neoclassical guy, certainly, or a post-rock guy, since it certainly sounds like it's somewhat in that vein. You'll probably get something out of it. The new Future of the Left album. Yeah, the new Future of the Left album. I can't remember a good chunk of these album titles right now, but I was really looking forward to this album since I really did like How to Stop Your Brain in an Accident. I thought that was a really good album for post-hardcore and noise rock and all that of that nature. However, with this new album, they're trying to go for a more sludgier production style, and while it's not bad, it kind of overshadows all the vocals being used and all the lyrics being used on the album. And this guy is a particularly snarky individual. He's definitely satirical, and with all this burying the instrumentation and the vocals especially, it wasn't that pleasant. But if you are a noise rock guy, if you are a sludge metal guy, if Steve Albini is your idol, then you'll definitely like this record. The new Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros album, Persona. I tried this out of morbid curiosity, and I actually ended up liking it. Not a lot, but certainly liking it. I thought the dark instrumentation was incredibly interesting. I definitely like how dark it is, but that's kind of it. The vocals are eccentric and doesn't really do a whole lot to keep me engaged other than that. It seemed to me that Edward Sharpe is trying to go for something different from what I understand. Like, Edward Sharpe is shedding his Edward Sharpe persona, and now he's going for something different, and I don't think it came through all that well. And I don't think that huge transformation, came through all that well, certainly. But if you're a big fan of the band, yeah, do definitely check this out. If you are interested in like alternative rock or folk rock, then give this a try, certainly. You'll get something out of it. The new Koosha album, a.k.a. I was really looking forward to this, and it really saddens me that I won't be able to review this. Not just because I don't have enough, that I'm running a lack of time since I was on vacation for a week, but also because it just seems like prolonged loose change Koosha had after he dropped Good, which was a very excellent electronic album that came out last year. It seems like that instead of him doing the same thing, where each track flows into one another particularly well, he just gives us a collection of 15 tracks. And while it's definitely mind-bending, this is definitely a good album. It's not as great as Good. There's going to be few electronic albums on the face of the earth that are going to compare to what Good was, and that's going to be really tough for Koosha from here on out. But I do definitely think that he has another great album in him. But to me, this isn't it. But if you are looking for some mind-bending electronic music, do definitely look into this record. You'll definitely enjoy it. I know I do. I just couldn't review it, but if I was able to review it, it wouldn't make it as a favorite of mine for the year. The new Parquet Courts album, Human Behavior, or whatever the fuck it's called, I don't know. Gave this a listen. It sounded like your typical art punk type stuff, your kind of post-punkish type stuff. It reminded me of Proto Martyr. Get a good view of my mouth. But it reminded me a little too much of Proto Martyr, this album. Not a bad thing. They definitely do their own style justice, but reminded me a little too much of Proto Martyr, if you ask me. Plus, it was a little too long for its own good for me to just continuously sit through and enjoy from beginning to end. But if you are looking for an indie rock record, a punk record, then do definitely give this a try. You'll definitely get something out of it. Alright, 2 more records. The new Royce the 5'9" album. I was pleasantly surprised with this album. I just didn't feel that interested in returning to it, especially after the second half, where it just gets bogged down in all these commercial beats and these features that really shouldn't have really been there. I actually think this should have been a shorter record. It sucks that Royce the 5'9" is such an underrated hip-hop artist. I do think that he's definitely one of the more invaluable for underground hip-hop. But this record here, it's not really proving much. If you're not already invested in Royce's life, this probably won't do much for you. I know this didn't do that much for me either. But if you are a big hip-hop guy, give this a try. Royce can still rap. He's still got his wordplay going for him. The beats are pretty good. It just felt like it was just way too commercial for me. And finally, and I'm probably missing a few other records, so I'm sorry. But finally, the new Andrew Bird album. Yeah, the new Andrew Bird album. I gave this a try, and I was definitely intrigued with this record. It's certainly a decent singer-songwriter record. This guy, he used to be in the Scroll Out Zippers and has like a series of... That was the dryer. Washing machine. But anyway, a series of solo releases of his own that are pretty expansive, and if you are a big singer-songwriter guy, definitely do try to check them out. With this new album, I was definitely intrigued with this album because he was able to get Fiona Apple, of all people, one of my favorite... sorry. One of my favorite singer-songwriters of all time, Fiona Apple. He was able to get her on this, and any individual that is able to get Fiona Apple on an album is pretty much okay in my books. And I'm actually still waiting for her to drop an album. Give me something. It's been years since Either Wheel. Give us something. But yeah, with this new album, there's not really a whole lot that's intriguing me, really. It's not bad, it's just not that great either. But if you are a big Andrew Bird fan already, do give this a try. There's definitely, if you're a singer-songwriter guy, there's definitely a few songs you should try out, like Left-Handed Kisses. It's probably one of my favorite songs this year. It's a nice, really clever song about writing love songs. There's a few other songs, but really it's not that fantastic, if you ask me. So that's March and April's N.E.T. What did you think of any of these records? Did you love them? Am I stupid for not loving them? What's some other records that I missed that I probably should consider checking out? And what should I consider reviewing from here to now? I already have a few in mind. Okay, yeah. This is CW Music Reviews here, signing off.